Good morning, children. In yesterday's class, you learned about the Coringa water ecosystem, so which comes under aquatic ecosystem. So today we will discuss about another example of ecosystem, that is desert ecosystem. Very good morning, children. In yesterday's class, we learned about Coringa water ecosystem. So what are the conditions which we observe there, and what are the specialities, what kind of living organisms we observe there. So about all that we have learned. Today another example of ecosystem we are going to discuss. What is that means? Desert ecosystem. Have you seen deserts? Can you give the names of or examples of deserts in our country? Yes. So Thar desert you can give. So other deserts which are present in the world, Sahara desert, like that you can give the examples. So desert ecosystem we are going to discuss today. So what kind of conditions we are going to observe here? So desert, if we see, it also will come under land ecosystem, that is terrestrial ecosystem, and the desert is going to occupy 17% of the land. 17% of the land. So on the land, if we observe, so wherever we are observing these deserts, so how much percentage it is going to observe? 17% of land it is going to observe. And what kind of abiotic conditions we are going to observe here? Means we know that very meager rainfall we are going to observe. Okay, so rainfall will be very much less. Rainfall is less, that is said to be less than 23 millimeters per year. Okay, other parts if we see, we can observe more number of times rains in the rainy season, is it not? So in deserts it is not there like that. So throughout the year, if we see how much rainfall the deserts are going to get, means less than 23 millimeters of rains we are going to observe, and extreme temperatures we are going to observe. So daytime it is too hot, very much hot temperatures we can observe, and at night time it is very much low temperatures. So extreme temperatures we are going to observe. So extreme temperatures we are going to observe here, that is high temperatures and low temperatures. Is it clear to children? So because of that, what is going to happen? Very few species of organisms we are going to observe there, because the desert conditions are not going to support the organisms to survive there. Okay, means large number of organisms we cannot see there, just like how we observe in other parts of the land, like forest ecosystem you can take, where we observe more number of trees, or animal group, or aquatic system if you take, million species of organisms we are going to observe. So like that, this desert cannot support the organisms to survive because of extreme conditions. Extreme conditions. Is it clear to you? So temperature is very much high and low. So all these are going to take into consideration to make that animals to live in that particular area. So we are going to observe different kinds of adaptations in the organisms. They may be plants or animals. Okay. So what is meant by adaptation? Adaptation means the organisms have to suit to that particular environment. Okay, some changes are brought in the body of organisms to suit to live in that particular habitat. So such type of changes whichever are brought in the organisms are called as adaptations, and the organisms which we are observing in deserts, we are seeing or we are observing some adaptations. Okay, then here different organisms which come under producers. So ecosystem means you know that biotic and abiotic components will be present. Is it not, children? So very few species of producers we can see, and few species of consumers also we can observe. So if they are there, obviously decomposers also will be there, and the other abiotic conditions. So they are going to be shared among the living organisms. Is it clear to you? So now let us learn what kind of producers we can observe in the desert ecosystem. So we learned that in any ecosystem, producers, consumers and decomposers will be there or not. So here, what kind of producers will be present? What kind of producers we can observe? So producers means what? Examples are said to be plants only. Is it not? So very few species of plants we are going to observe. So what adaptations we can see in these plants or producers? So if we observe the plants in deserts, they have roots which grow very much deeper layers. So they grow very deeply in the ground. Why it is there like that? In the surface areas, the water availability will not be there. So the roots have to grow very much deeply in the soil to collect the water. So that's why here we are observing branched root system. Is it clear to children? In the plants which are growing in deserts. Coming to the next point here, stems. If we see stems of some of these plants, so we they are said to be succulent. Succulent in nature. So succulent stems we are going to observe, or succulent roots we can see, but here succulent stems we are going to observe. Have you followed? So what do you mean by succulent here? Succulent means which helps in storing water. So the stems are capable of storing water. So with great difficulty, the plants are going to absorb water, and that water is not supposed to be lost from the plants. So the water has to be stored in the plant parts. So in which parts of the plants it is getting stored? That is in the stems. So the succulent stems we are going to observe in the plants which are seen in the deserts. Is it clear to you? So coming to the next point here, leaves. Leaves. So you know that leaves are helping in process of photosynthesis, and apart from that, if leaves are there, the transpiration is going to happen. What do you mean by transpiration here? So transpiration means removal of excess water through the stomata of leaves is called transpiration. Is it clear to you? Removal of excess water through stomata of leaves is called as transpiration. Okay. So already the plants which are growing in deserts, they are in scarcity of water. Less water availability is there. Is it not, children? So how they can survive? How they can survive means they must have some adaptations. So here the leaves, when they are present in the plants, then the process of transpiration is going to happen. Then that results in the loss of water from the plants. So if water is lost from the plants, if water is getting evaporated from the plant through stomata, then the plants cannot survive in the adverse conditions of high temperatures or where there is scarcity of water. Then how do they survive? Means the transpiration process is totally reduced. Why? Because the leaves of these plants which are seen in deserts are modified. Into what way they are modified? Into thorns or spines. Is it clear to you? So thorns or spines. The leaves are totally modified to thorns or spines so that the process of transpiration will not happen in the desert plants, so they can survive the conditions of scarcity of water. So like that they are going to conserve water. Is it clear to children? Like that. Then even if we see the leaves, how they will be? The leaves are very much narrow like date plants. If we see palm trees, if we see, the leaves will be very much narrow. Is it clear to you? And they are not going to expose to the much time to the sunlight, like so. They will be close like that, so that the transpiration process will be just reduced, or it is going to take place at low rate. So thorns and spines, the leaves are modified into thorns and spines to reduce the transpiration. Is it clear to children? So what are the examples of the plants which we observe in deserts? Cactus, opuntia, aloe vera, date plants, which we call them as palm trees. So such type of plants will be seen. Have you followed, children? So I hope you have seen that cactus plant. So cactus plant, so it will have a flat stem, succulent stem. It will be very much green in nature, and waxy coating we can observe on it, which can help in preventing rate of transpiration, and the spines we can observe like this. Okay, so this is the opuntia. Coming to the next one, aloe vera. Aloe vera everybody has seen, so that can be seen in our houses also. We are going to grow that plant. So aloe vera plant, it will be seen like this. Is it not? Aloe vera. So here we can observe very much sharp spine we can see. So all these spines we can observe. And aloe vera stem, if we cut and if we observe, we can see there jelly like fluid whichever is present. What is that, children? It is nothing but water stored in that part of that plant. So then date plants you have seen, like Eetha chettu we call, Tati chettu we call, toddy, then date plants. So all these are examples of these plants. Cactus also you have seen. So they are grown as ornamental plants. Cactus, especially cactus and aloe vera. Is it clear to you? Whereas opuntia, it will not be grown. What is that? Opuntia cannot be grown as a ornamental plant. Is it clear to children? So now you can see here aloe vera. Aloe vera you can observe here. So here you can see the spines. Can you see the spines? And if we see here, so that succulent stem, it is going to store the water. Is it clear? It stores the water. So jelly like substance you can observe. What is that means? It is having water storage tissue. Water storage tissue. Is it clear to you? So coming to the next point, small plants also we can see, lichens, then moss plants, xerophytic moss plants we call them as we can observe are blue-green algae. Where do we observe them? Means near water source, wherever water is available, like oasis. So oasis is the water places. Is it not, children? Water bodies in the deserts. So near that areas we can observe lichens, xerophytic moss or xeric moss, xeric moss plants, blue green algae. So in water conditions, this moss plants or blue green algae we are observing near oasis regions. Is it clear? So they are going to provide oxygen to the organisms which are living in water like. Okay. So these are the modifications which we are observing in producers of desert plants. So because of these modifications only, the plants are seen. What kind of plants? The plants with succulent stems and leaves are modified to thorns and spines. Is it clear? And the root system is very much deeply, they are growing in the ground to get the water. Is it clear? So these are all the modifications which we are observing in the desert plants that come under producers. So they are going to provide nourishment to the other organisms which are depending on producers. Is it clear? So like that, here we are going to observe the producers. But whatever it may be, just like how we are observing plants in forest, trees, different varieties of trees in forest, like that we cannot observe in the deserts. So very few plant species we are observing with some modifications in that. Is it clear? So all these are about producers which are seen in the desert ecosystem. Examples: cactus, opuntia, aloe vera, different species of date plants. All these will be coming under producers which are seen in the deserts. Now we come to the consumers. So you know that consumers are also very few in number. Why? Because the producers are less in number in deserts. Is it not? So consumers are very few in number, and when we compare the other areas like grassland ecosystem, you can take, or terrestrial ecosystem like forest ecosystem or aquatic ecosystem, if you take maybe freshwater or marine water, we observe large number of consumers there. Okay, so many species of consumers we can observe, but in deserts very few animal groups we are going to observe. What is the reason? Because of it is said to be some adverse conditions. Adverse conditions we are going to observe in the deserts. Okay, then what kind of animals we can see there? Means some species of reptiles. Okay, and you know it very well, desert sheep, which we call it as camels. You can observe camels. Is it clear? Then some insects also we can observe there. Insects also we can see. So like that. So here what kind of adaptations we are going to observe in the animals also. So as we are observing extreme hot conditions and scarcity of water, obviously the organisms, the consumers must adapt to that conditions, desert conditions. Is it clear? So here what kind of organism, what kind of adaptations we can see here. So next here almost all the consumers are said to be nocturnal. Nocturnal in nature. So what do you mean nocturnal? Nocturnal means what? The organisms which are active at night time. So they are called as nocturnal animals, the organisms which are very much active. So for their life activities to continue, so they are going to coming out of their habitats at night time. Is it clear? So or to collect the food or to hunt any animal. So they come at night time. So mostly the consumers in deserts are said to be nocturnal in nature. Nocturnal means, have you followed children? The organisms which are said to be active at night time. But we are active at daytime. So that's why we are called as diurnals. Have you followed? Then here camel is called the ship of desert, and we'll take example camel, and what kind of adaptations we are going to observe here. Okay, so we can see long legs in camel, is it not? So camel is called ship of desert. So camel is called the ship of desert, and the camel is having long legs. Then long eyelashes. Then nostrils. So long legs, in what way they are going to help the camel? Means the surface temperatures. Okay, as that camels are having very much long legs, the temperature from the ground, it cannot reach its body at fast rate. So in that way they are going to survive. Apart from that, they can walk very much fast with the long legs in the desert. So they have hooves also which help in the walking fastly in the desert conditions. And long eyelashes we are going to observe, and they are going to be closed any sandstorms when we are observing. Even nostrils also voluntarily they are going to be closed when sandstorms are there. So in that way they are going to survive in the adverse conditions of temperatures of desert. Is it clear? Then, so once the camel is going to take water, it can survive without taking water for 21 days. So without water it can survive for 21 days. 21 days. So what does it mean? Means it is having hunchback. So that hunchback is going to help in storing water. Apart from that, whenever the camel is in need of water, that metabolic water, fat content whichever is stored in the hump regions will help in releasing water, and that water is enough for the camel to survive. So even if it is traveling a long distance, it can survive without taking water for 21 days. That is the reason. Is it clear to you? So like that the camels are going to survive in the adverse conditions. Is it clear to children? Then, so almost very small organisms we can observe. Largest animals, how we observe in deserts like that, how we observe them in forests. So here we are not going to observe in the deserts. Is it clear to children? So then, now we will discuss about here, I will show you some of the examples of animals which come under desert ecosystem. So camel, you can see long legs, nostrils, long legs, nostrils. Then side, pinder snake, rat, golden mole. It will never take water throughout its lifetime. And sand grouse, so they crawl below the surface of sands, and they are going to survive in that way. Even hyenas, mostly we observe them, we observe the animal groups which are said to be carnivores. And plants, cactus, then Opuntia. This is called Nagajamudu. It is also called as a species of cactus. This also, this type of plants we can observe in the deserts. So till now we completed consumers. Now we will come to the decomposers. So decomposers already you know which are going to feed on the dead organisms. So in deserts what is happening here? Very few species of producers and consumers we are observing. Very few species. Okay. So what is going to happen here? Our dead organic matter is available at very less amounts. Is it not? So because of that what will happen? Here decomposers also will be less in number only. So you know that decomposers examples bacteria and fungi. So you learnt in previous part of this lesson what are that detritus bacteria and fungi like. So here even for decomposers also, okay, they have to withstand to that conditions, hot conditions. Is it not, children? So that's why here very few species of decomposers we are observing, and that too decomposers are have to withstand to that conditions. So thermophilic. So thermophilic decomposers we are going to observe. Thermophilic, what does it mean? So the even decomposers also have to withstand to that extreme conditions, hot conditions. So that one we call it as a thermophilic. So thermophilic fungi and thermophilic bacteria we can observe here. Thermophilic fungi and bacteria we can observe here. And what do? They are going to feed on the dead organisms and survive. Is it clear to children? So in that way we are going to observe the desert ecosystem, which is unique actually because of adverse conditions, extreme conditions. Very few species of producers, consumers and decomposers we are going to observe. And what are the abiotic conditions we can able to see or observe there means extreme hot conditions or cold conditions we can see. The entire land will be just seen sandy. Is it not? Then very less water availability. So all these conditions are going to show impact on the living organisms. That's why that life it is not supported to these conditions. Okay, so that's why we can observe very few species of living organisms in deserts. Have you followed, children? That is about desert ecosystem. Now we will come to the forest ecosystem. Forest ecosystem. So what is a forest, children? Vast cover of land with trees is called a forest. Is it not? So different species of plants we can observe. Thick vegetation we are going to observe in the forest. And if more and more area, if it is covered with plants, that is vegetation, if it is more, obviously we observe there more number of consumers also. Is it not? So different species of animals we can observe in the forest. Is it not? So what kind of animals we can see? We can see wild animals like lions, tigers, elephants, then deers, bears. So all these organisms we can see, and some snakes also we can observe, some insects we can see, Other organisms also will be seen in the forest. So can you name the examples of forest, children? So very much close to our state, Nallamala forest, very much close to our Hyderabad district, that is Vikarabad. We can observe the thick forest, is it not? So like the different forests are there. Okay, Nallamala, Yerramala forest, Seshachalam forest. Then in Himalayan regions we are going to observe forests. So like that different forests are also a part of ecosystems only. Have you followed? Then whatever that ecosystem may be, whether it is desert or forest or water ecosystem, that is aquatic ecosystem, here the energy flow is going to happen. Energy flow means what? The ultimate source of energy is said to be solar energy. Solar energy. So all living organisms, they are going to depend on sun for the survival. So which we call it as solar energy. So that solar energy is trapped by the plants. So the plants are making use of that solar energy, and the plants are using that energy to prepare food by the process called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. So how it is happening here? If we see approximately 57% of solar energy, 57% of solar energy is absorbed into the atmosphere, scattered into the space, and 36% of solar energy helping expend in heating water, land, and evaporating water. All that process is happening because of 36% of solar energy, and nearly 8% of light energy. Only 8% of light energy is taken by the plants. In that also, okay, in that also 8% also, 80 to 85%, 80 to 85% is absorbed by the plants, and only in that also 50% of energy, solar energy, is used by the plants for the process of photosynthesis. Means what? When that energy is reaching from one level to other level, okay, trophic levels, means the energy transfer is happening from abiotic system to biotic system. So we know that first the producers are going to make use of energy. So producers prepare food. So the food whichever is prepared, it is going to be used up by the consumers, then decomposers. So energy transfer from the abiotic system, it is going to happen, reaching producers, then consumers. So here food whatever it is prepared by the plants, it is going to be used up by the herbivorous animals, then carnivorous animals. Even we people are also going to make use of that energy in the form of food. So after the death, the energy whichever is used by the consumers, it will be just taken up, that is by the decomposers. Whatever it may be, at each and every level, the energy transfer, when it is happening, some amount of energy is getting lost. Is it clear to children? So like that here, in any ecosystem, if we observe, or a food chain, if we observe, the energy transfer is going to happen, and that will that is shared among producers, consumers, and decomposers. Have you followed, children? So if you want to know more information about that, see the annexure from this lesson, which is given in the page number 130.